let's get into it. We're going to analyse the song and songwriting of Taylor Swift and Jack Antonoff in the song Anti-Hero. Let's hear how they treat this song and what kind of transmission of meaning we're looking at. We'll go through it bit by bit and work out what's happening and whether we can make ourselves better songwriters along the way. Let's go. So this track is track 3 from Taylor Swift's album Midnights. Ah. Help if I turn the speakers on, eh? Oh, that was the introduction. That was the introduction. The introduction was boom, ch, ba boom, boom, ch, ba boom. The drums are present in a 4/4 groove for 2 bars, and then we jump straight into verse 1. There's no fancy hint as what's coming next, it's just diving straight in. I wonder if this is because of the subject matter. I mean, it was pretty dark, wasn't it? Why do you think she might have opted for a sparse introduction? Okay, let's listen to verse 1 then, straight off. I have this thing where I get older, but just never wiser. Midnights become my afternoons. Wow! That's not what I was expecting. Her voice is really sweet. It's high and light. She's got a really open, clear tone, hasn't she? You could say that her singing style there is closely related to bel canto. Very clear. It's a really beautiful tone, isn't it? While she's singing something quite different. That's interesting. Let's have a listen. I get older, but just never wiser. Midnights become my afternoons. When my depression works the graveyard shift, all of the people are ghosts instead, they're in the room. That's a really sweet melody, isn't it? It's very rhythmical. Bum bum ba-dum, bum bum ba-dum. I think the first thing that hits me is that it's just so light and sweet and pretty, which is completely opposite to the weighted darkness of her depression works the graveyard shift. So she's up at midnight, wide awake, she's feeling depressed, and in order to connect the graveyard shift to her thoughts, there are ghosts in the room. That's kind of like Scooby-Doo, isn't it, if it was a cartoon? It would be dark and scary and cold, and yet that tune is very light and sweet and warm. So that's a really interesting contrast. Now, the concept of contrast is something that I will always return to because a well-crafted song, I've come to realise, is a series of contrasting statements. One thing will oppose another thing, and that's where the interest comes from. And so in this verse, it looks like there's been a conscious decision to make a really light, sweet melody against some pretty heavy, dark, weighted ideas. High voice, dark, heavy ideas. So the words we choose not only transmit an idea, there's a rhythm to the way that we speak. And this lexical rhythm, the rhythm that's inherent in the words, will unify our whole song. So verse 1 is going to sound the same as verse 2, is going to sound the same as verse 3. That would normally be how we would write the verses in a song. We create a sense of familiarity doing it this way. The format's only like 3 to 4 minutes, so, you know, that's the way it works out. The rhythmical motif that she's chosen here is pretty clear. It's a 2-beat unit, so think 2/4. Ba 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 da ba 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 da. It's on the off, the and of 1, so it's 1 and. Da 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 da. By linking them in that way, she's created a phrase. Interestingly, the lead melody is spelling an E major chord, but the first chord has an A in the bass, which clashes with its neighbour, that semitone of G sharp, which makes the major chord of E. I suspect that this song was probably written on a guitar, and then they've gone into the studio and they've thought about how they're going to do the music for it, and they've realised it's going to be E, E, B, I think it's C sharp, minor is the next chord, which would make it a 3-chord bash. And it's definitely an E major chord because of what the voice is singing. The voice is singing the G sharp, and then it touches that B above it. But for some reason, the production have decided to put in an A in the bass, so it's creating sort of an E suspended 4th. And I'd be really interested to know why. What do you think? Put your comments down below. Back to the rhythm, the lexical rhythm. Ba 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 da ba 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 da ba 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 da ba da ba da. There it is. That whole phrase is built on one tiny little motif, rhythmical motif. Ba 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 da. I'll show you it now. Ba 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 da. Ba 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 da. Ba 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 da. Ba da ba da. That's a really, really simple little motif. If I was teaching written notation to people the same age as my child, who is 7, I would do that by going popcorn and coke, popcorn and coke, popcorn and coke, and coke and coke, popcorn and coke, popcorn and coke. Might sound like a silly thing to do, but kids love it when you teach them music in that way. So that is our motif, how she's made the words go, and what she's done is use that motif to create a phrase. That phrase in verse 1 is repeated twice. Let's look at the rhyming structures of that. I have this thing where I get older, but just never wiser. Midnights become my afternoons. There's no rhyme in that one phrase. That whole complete phrase does not rhyme inside of itself. So what she's done is repeat that phrase and pop the rhyme at the end. And we're rhyming afternoons with rooms. It's an oo sound. Nobody's going to tell the difference between an M and an N. It's a perfectly reasonable rhyme. The only place where that lexical rhythm thing is a bit tricky is all of the people I've ghosted stand there in the room. Now, if you were saying that, there would be no spaces in that sentence, would there? There's a tiny little quaver rest in the middle of the singing line that I don't think would be there if you were actually just saying the sentence. All of the people I've ghosted stand there in the room. Whereas it goes, all of the people, you can breathe there. I've ghosted stand there in the room. I probably would have syncopated that melody in order to make the line have no breathing space in the middle of its delivery. So for me, there's a tiny little sort of fight going on with the natural phrasing of the sentence against the rhythmical motif that is underpinning our verse phrase. For a tip though, for the most natural sounding lyrics when you're setting them to music, don't fight the natural rhythm of the sentences. Choose different words if you have to in order to keep that rhythm matched. So you've picked your little rhythmical unit. If the word that you want to say, maybe it's multisyllabic and it won't fit over the phrase, just choose a different word, because we want that singing line, the thing that other people are going to be singing when they've heard your song and really like it. We want them to sing that in as natural way as possible. Words have their natural patterns. Don't fight them if you can. Anyway, that's the verse. We're going to go in the bridge, but here's something that I want you to think about. What is the purpose of a chorus in a song? My understanding, and the way that I approach it in general, is that the chorus is the peak of the song. It should be the highest point of the song. Now, she started this song on a G sharp, and she's hit a B3. These are quite high notes. Where's the chorus going to go from that? This is something that is always, I would advise, to be thought about. Because where's she going to go with that chorus melody in order to lift it up and lift it higher? I have a sneaky suspicion she's going to put in a device in order to solve that. Let's have a listen to the bridge.
I should not be left to my
I knew it.
Prices, they come with prices and prices. I end up in crisis.
Keep it light.
I wake up screaming from dreaming. One day I'll watch as you're leaving, 'cause you got tired of my scheming for the last time.
The music doesn't change any kind of essence about it. It's just grooving along the way that it started. What's really interesting though is that she creates a pushed, syncopated kind of a feel. I should not be left to my own devices. They come with prices and vices. I end up in crisis. There's this stumbling sensation through that thought process, sung on a very low contralto E, E2, if you consider middle C as C3. So I should not be left to my own devices. There's the first rhyme word. They come with prices. That prices starts on 3 and vices is beat 1 of the next bar. I end up in crisis. Crisis is beat 4 of the bar. So she's got her accents in some pretty strange places. She repeats that 4 bars, but the rhyming words aren't accenting in the same place. So I wake up from screaming, from dreaming. One day I'll watch as you're leaving, 'cause you got tired of my scheming. And it's still in that low contralto, but it's becoming more rhythmically. It's being pushed back into where it's supposed to be, because clearly we're coming into the chorus. Screaming is on beat 3. Dreaming is pushed onto 4 and, so it goes over the bar line, and then leaving is on 4 and, so that's pushed over the bar line, so that's a pushed sensation as well. And scheming is also on 4 and, so that's pushed over the bar. So you do get this pushing sensation, but in the first bit she's placed her rhymes probably randomly rather than intentionally. I like that rhythmical lexical play. If you consider what she's singing, it's quite a chaotic thought, isn't it? So this lack of sticking to the rhythm is actually really appropriate for the lyrical context. So that works great. And the fact that the melody is really low at this point and it's not a strong voice that's singing, it has that self-reflection feel to it. So it's a really sort of talking to yourself moment. That's written really brilliantly, really nicely, and she brings in this lightness with the tale as old as time, trying to get back up again, but she's not going past that middle C, or she's touching that middle C by the looks of things. Now she's quite low, isn't she? So we started on that G sharp 3, which is above middle C. We fell down to the E2, which is a contralto range voice. She's got to get to that G3 to match the verse. So how is she going to do it? Well, this last section of the bridging section is for the last time, which is where it was before. So she's on that B, B, middle C. Haha, right. So now we're on to the chorus. Typically, the chorus is going to be the main point of your song. It's the reason for singing your song. And here Taylor Swift, she sings. What does she sing? Well, it's me. I'm the problem. It's me. That is a great line. That is a really great line. I love that line. I think that most people in the world will have had that thought about themselves. God, is it me? Is it me? Did I do something wrong? You know, that kind of neurosis. I think there's not a person on this planet, unless you're a complete narcissist, that doesn't have that thought like, crap, is it me? It's me, isn't it? It's me. I'm the problem. And you think, ooh. And this song has been at #1 in the UK charts, the official UK charts, for 4 weeks. And I'm wondering if it's because there's a lot of people can I really, really identify with this idea that I'm the problem, it's me. Because I think we're drawn to songs that say something we recognise. Think about all of the songs that you really love. Why do you love them? Probably because you've experienced the same emotion or you've had the same thought. And that's how we make a connection through the form of song, is we have this experience or we have this thinking and we put it out there and other people go, I've had that thought too. So I really love that line. It's me, I'm the problem, it's me. Fantastic line. I love it. Let's think about what she's doing vocally with that. So she does jump back up from that E2 to that E3. There is no change in key, no modulation coming into the chorus. It does just start, it rolls, and the chorus is just there. So what she does with the melody is going to be really telling, because pretty much we want our song to rise in the chorus. Let's see what she's doing. I bet she's going to sing an E major chord. Let's have a listen in context. She's got a tighter throat tone, hasn't she? That's really interesting. So her voice has got, she sang the first verse, la 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 la, so it was really light, reminiscent of bel canto. And this one, she has a tighter throat tone, but it's still a beautifully clear sound. She's got no gruff in there at all. She's not pinching any of her pharynx muscles at all. She's jumped from that E2 to that E3, which is an octave, and then she's jumping the major third and hitting that G sharp 3 again. It's me, hi, I'm the problem, it's me, at tea time, everybody agrees. So that's the top line. She's got her backing vocals underneath there though, and she needed to, because the verse melody was a G sharp 3 that touched the B3, which goes up a minor third to the B3. She's come in on that E and gone up to the G sharp where she started. So we've effectively come full circle and come back to where we started. But she isn't going as high as that B3 anymore. So if the melody itself is staying underneath the verse, what she has to do is use a technique, and that is backing vocals. Backing vocals are there to make the lead voice shine and emphasize that it's there. But her backing vocals are sitting underneath the lead voice. And we've got this major third, it's me, hi, I'm the problem, it's me, which is interesting because that's voicing a major third chord. And I'd be really interested to know in the chorus, is it voicing an A in the bass or voicing an E in the bass? That would be interesting. I will have to go and double check that though, because I don't know at this moment. So it's me, hi, I'm the problem, it's me. So she's changed the rhythmical structure as well. It's me, rest, hi, rest, I'm the problem, it's me. That little lexical motif, bap, ba-dap, ba-dap, bap, is back. That's not as new as it sounds. The introduction drums, if you remember, were just a few bars of boom, ch, ba boom, ch, boom, ch, ba boom. It's me. Hi. I'm the problem, it's me. I'm the problem, it's me is that one lexical motif that we've used. Ba ba da ba da ba. It's just put in a different accent, and that's how we as composers create variations. You have your little motif and you play with it, flip it round, move it so the accents occur in different portions of it. That's how you vary any motif, in case you didn't know. So let's look at how she breaks this down. So we've got it's me, hi, I'm the problem, it's me. At tea time, everybody agrees. It's quite obvious where the rhyming structures are in there. So we're repeating the bap, 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 ba-da, ba-da, bap repetition. So you've got your new hook for the chorus. It's repeated twice. The two lines are rhyming underneath each other. It's me, at tea, hi, time. She's rhyming at the end of that. I'm the problem, it's me, everybody agrees. So she's got 3 rhyming places in that chorus. And that's a really strong hook. And it's worth experimenting with these ideas in your own songwriting. So it's not just about the rhyming structure that goes in a linear sense, it's how you sit the next line, the next phrase, in how that's going to rhyme. So it's rhyming with itself, it's rhythmically rhyming, and that's the essence of a good hook, really. So harmonically, she's singing a major third. I would suggest that that's the chord, E major. Something really interesting happens next. There's a 3-part harmony comes in on the line, I'll stare directly at the sun. And the additional harmony that comes in goes above the melody. Now, if you remember when she started this song, she started on the G sharp and she went up to the B. She's singing a B in the harmony, so it's sounding as part of the voice, but her actual singing line is on the G sharp. I'll stare directly at the sun, but never in the mirror. So this is obviously the place where the chorus reaches its apex and its pinnacle. Never in the mirror takes the bottom line away, but it's not really that noticeable because you've got the melody line with the harmony paralleling it over the top. So it's not really noticeable that that bottom support drops out and you essentially just hear this beautiful 3-part harmony that reduces to a 2-part harmony for the whole entire line. But that line is great. I'll stare directly at the sun, but never in the mirror. What a fantastic line that is. That's a great line. I'll stare directly at the sun because I'm really brave and I'm a little bit reckless and I'll do things that might hurt me, but I'll just do them anyway. But never in the mirror, because I won't look at myself. I do not self-reflect. I can't accept blame. I can't accept responsibility. That's a great line. I really, really like it. And I love the fact that it's 3-part harmonies there. It's just beautiful. But if you listen really closely, you'll hear that bottom E. It moves up to an F. I think it's been tuned up into an F as well. It goes mm. So I don't think she's sung that. I think somebody's tuned that up and then just took the other notes away. Now, here's a question. Where's the rhyme? Let's talk about that. I'll stare directly at the sun, but never in the mirror. It must be exhausting, always rooting for the anti-hero. I personally wouldn't have let that out. I would have rewritten one of those lines in order to create a sense of rhyming pair partnership. It's okay that the second half of the chorus isn't following the words rest, ba ba da ba da ba. So I'll stare directly at the sun but never at the mirror. It must be exhausting, always rooting for the anti-hero. I would have made those portion, portion, rhyming portion, rhyming portion. Here's a question. How would you solve that? You're going to see that I've given this a go. I'm going to rewrite this chorus. So think about this one. The obvious rhyming place is going to be mirror or hero, but nobody pronounces mirror, Miro, so it would actually rhyme with hero, and nobody pronounces hira as the word for hero to rhyme with mirror. There's a little struggle there, isn't there, between mirror and hero. Do you think that you could have solved this better than she solved it in this way? I think that there is a better solution. Let's go through this process. You go through this process and let me know down below in the comments how you would attempt to solve this rhyming issue, the closure of this chorus, whilst keeping the integrity of those undeniably great statements. I'll stare directly at the sun but never in the mirror. How do you do that? So this is my thoughts on how I would approach this from a songwriting perspective. Option 1, find a rhyming word for hero and replace the word mirror. I'll stare directly at the sun but never in the mirror. I would say that that's probably the best line in the song. I don't think that you can replace that line. You have to keep the word mirror, so that's not an option. Option 2, find a rhyming word for mirror and replace anti-hero. Well, anti-hero is the name of this track, so you can't replace anti-hero for another word that would rhyme with mirror. So that's not an option either. Option 3, move mirror to another location in the sentence and find a rhyme for hero. Well, I don't think that you can do that. You can't move the word mirror anywhere from that sentence. I'll stare directly at the sun but never in the mirror. There's no place for you to put that. I'll stare directly in the mirror but never in the sun. It doesn't have the same impact. I think it's more effective to say, I'll do this really reckless thing, but I'll never do this self-reflective thing. That's such a potent message. If you attempt to move that sentence in any way, shape or form, you're going to dilute it and destroy it. And it's not worth the risk. So I can see why she's kept that line exactly the way that it is. I would choose to keep that too, so option 3 is not viable either. Let's have a look at hidden option number 4. Move anti-hero to another location in its sentence and find a rhyme for mirror. Okay, let's do that. I've got dither, hither, shiver, sliver, quiver, river, wither. They were the rhymes that I came up with. Out of that selection, I would go with river. And the reason that I would go with river, because I believe that it has more capacity for a descriptor. When we're using concepts and ideas in songs, if you can plant a picture in somebody's mind, you're halfway there to getting the sense of what you're talking about across to another person. And a river is a thing that we all know. The question is the river big, whitewater rapid kind of river, or slow, doesn't move at all kind of river? That's the question. And you can describe that in a way that has the potential to be molded without destroying the sentiment. So I'm going to choose river. Let's see where we go with that. Let's think about what it must be exhausting always rooting for the anti-hero. So it's kind of a fatigue there. It's I'm somebody that's the opposite of what I'm supposed to be, and it's a little bit exhausting. So we could sink in our river, couldn't we? We could move anti-hero into the first portion of it, where currently it says, it must be exhausting. You could put anti-hero in there. So cheer this anti-hero on. Now, if you did that, on would rhyme with sun. Cheer this anti-hero on. And then you could say you're sinking in a river. Find a way to put sinking and river together. Or you could have fallen and make the river really icy and cold. That icy river idea could present an opposite to staring directly at the sun. We know that the sun is really hot and burning. An icy river would be cold and numbing. So you could introduce that icy river concept to directly oppose the burning sun concept that we're looking into. I'll stare directly at the sun but never in the mirror, cheer this anti-hero on that's fallen in an icy river. You could sink in the icy river, fall in the icy river, swim in an icy river. There's quite a lot of mileage in that framework in order to come up with a really great alternative. I think for me, after a little bit of thought, I've gone with try the anti-hero on, as in it's try being an anti-hero for it yourself before the sun sets in the river, which takes the concept of the sun from the previous sentence and sinks it into the water, extinguishing the flame. You could be drifting, the sun floats on the river. I like the idea of trying the anti-hero on. So if you chose that, it would be
It's me, hi, I'm the problem, it's me. At tea time, everybody agrees. I'll stare directly at the sun, but never in the mirror. Try the anti-hero on before the sun sets in the river.
That would be my solution, with lots of lovely harmonies. Now, the other interesting thing that she does with this section is she falls back down to that E. It's sort of giving up the ghost, isn't it? I'll stare directly at the sun, but never in the mirror. And this is the bit where she's deflated and she gives up. Try the anti-hero on before the sun sets in the river. And she goes back down again. Why don't you let me know what solutions you would come up with in order to fix the problem that I highlighted there? So the next portion of this song is a breakdown. It's classified in the lyrics as a breakdown. I would classify that as a middle eight. It's just a repetition as a device, as a technique. We repeat it rhythmically. We repeat the main theme. It's me, it's me. We're solidifying this concept that it's a universal experience. And I think it's a really great choice of subject matter for any song. So nicely done. In conclusion, from a writing perspective, all songs thrive in contrast. And you want to be getting as much contrast as you can into your song. You get your idea and then you create a contrast to it. This song specifically doesn't contrast musically in any real way. It starts, it rolls all the way through, doesn't modulate, it's a 3 to 4 chord bash and then it ends. There's no real musical contrasting going on, introduced by the production team. As a song, from a writing perspective, the actual bare bones of the song, the voice, the guitar, it's high, it's light, the theme is very dark and heavy, so there's your contrast there. It falls down and stumbles over itself as it's processing these thoughts, not in a projected way, but in a to-self way, because the pitch is so low for the singer. And then it comes back up with this strengthened idea of on the beat, it's certain, this is what it is, it's me. Then it presents this fantastic line, I'll stare directly at the sun but never in a mirror. That is a great line, I love it. And then it falls back down. So this song is written with contrast in its structure, but the production is just a groove that starts and goes all the way. So that's an interesting treatment of a song that has built-in contrasts to it. If you want an example of what I'm talking about with the production side of things, check out Smells Like Teen Spirit by Nirvana. Yes, it's an old song, but you'll see that the introduction is a solo electric guitar riff, and then the whole band does the riff. There's a massive dynamic contrast there. And then when it starts to sing, it gets reduced to drum, bass, and 2 notes on a clean guitar. And then when the chorus comes in, there's a full rocking band happening. From a production perspective, that's a dynamic contrast. Soft, loud, loud. so the chorus is the loudest part. Another production contrast example would be Bohemian Rhapsody. It does pretty much the same thing. It starts with a 4-part vocal, harmony, nothing else, and then when he starts to sing, it's a voice and a piano. So it's a contrast of just voice, lots of voices, one voice and one instrument. There are ways to contrast your music in your production values by dynamically creating orchestrations, lots of voices, solo voice, tiny little bit of instrument, full instrumentation. And that was how we will dynamically create contrast. We can write that contrast in to our song, as we've seen. So when you're writing your own songs, do your best to add a little bit of contrast in there, some opposition, in order to create interest. It's not just about the pictures. Think about the words that you're writing too. You can have word play. Like we've seen in this song, we had a sentence with a rhyme and then a second sentence with a rhyme, and then in the bridging section it was the rhymes were sort of tripping over themselves and it was creating a stumbling kind of idea lyrically. Use opposite words: hot, cold, night, day, fast, slow. These are easy opposites that you can contrast, that you can put into your writing. So when I used my rewrite, before the sun sets in the river, that was the extinguishing of the sun. The sun is hot and fiery, the river is cold and wet, and when the sun sets into the river, it extinguishes it. You can do that too. Give it a shot, and please let me know down below. I'd love to hear your solutions. I'd love to hear your actual work. That's it from me. A lot of talking. I hope you enjoyed this songwriting analysis. I hope it inspires you to write something that you're really proud of, and I would love to hear it. If you wanted to post it in the comments below, please do. Until then, get writing, have fun. Until next time.